Every single morning, 100 million Americans wake up, look in the mirror, and see a belly that wasn't there 5 years ago. They've tried cutting calories. They've walked on the treadmill. They've done the low-carb thing, the no-carb thing, the juice cleanse thing, and the belly is still there. Sometimes it's even bigger. And here is what nobody at your last doctor's appointment told you. That belly is not fat, not in the way you think. It is your liver. It is swollen, inflamed, and drowning in a substance it was never designed to process. And until you stop putting 3 specific things into your mouth, things most people eat every single day, things that are marketed as normal, even healthy, that belly is not going anywhere. Not a single pound of it. Subscribe to Dr. John Chester right now and hit that like button. What I'm about to tell you, you will not hear in a 12-minute office visit. Let's say it is a Tuesday evening. You come home from work. You are tired, a little stressed, a little hungry. You open the refrigerator. You grab something quick. Maybe a yogurt that says low fat on the label. Maybe a glass of juice. Maybe a handful of crackers with some peanut butter. You sit down, you eat. You feel fine. 3 hours later, inside your body, a war has started. Your liver, a dark reddish-brown organ the size of a football sitting just under your right ribs, is now working an emergency overnight shift. It is processing substances that have flooded in from your bloodstream. Substances that, in the quantities a modern diet delivers them, your liver simply cannot keep up with. So it does what any overwhelmed system does. It starts storing the overflow. It converts the excess into fat droplets and packs them directly into its own cells. One night of this, no problem. Your liver bounces back. But night after night, week after week, year after year, those fat droplets accumulate. The liver begins to expand. Its cells become congested and inflamed. They stop doing their jobs efficiently. And the jobs your liver is responsible for are not minor. They are foundational to every single thing your body does. Your liver produces bile, which breaks down dietary fat. It filters every toxin, every drug, every pesticide residue that enters your bloodstream. It controls blood sugar between meals. It manufactures cholesterol and decides how much circulates. It produces proteins that allow your blood to clot. It processes and eliminates excess hormones, including the ones that determine where your body stores fat. When your liver is clogged, all of those functions degrade simultaneously. Your blood sugar becomes unstable. Your cholesterol rises. Your hormonal balance shifts in ways that specifically drive fat storage around the abdomen. Your metabolism slows, and your belly grows. Not because you are eating too many calories overall, because your liver has lost the ability to do its job. The medical name for this condition is non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, NAFLD. And here is the number that should stop you cold. 1 in 4 adults on Earth has it right now. Most of them have no idea. There are no symptoms in the early and middle stages. No pain, no obvious signs. Just a belly that won't shift, fatigue that won't lift, and a metabolism that seems to work against everything you try. Before we go further, I need to say what I always say. There are signs that mean you stop watching this video and go directly to a doctor. If you have pain in the upper right side of your abdomen, persistent pain, not a passing twinge, but a dull ache that does not go away, that is your liver capsule under pressure. It needs evaluation immediately. If your skin or the whites of your eyes have taken on a yellow tint, that is jaundice. It means bilirubin is not being processed correctly. That is an emergency visit. If your abdomen is visibly distended and hard, not soft belly fat, but a tight, drum-like swelling, that can indicate fluid accumulation in the abdominal cavity. See a physician today. If you are bruising easily from minor contact, or if small cuts take a long time to stop bleeding, your liver's protein production is compromised. That requires medical evaluation. If none of those apply to you, stay with me, because what comes next is the information that changes everything. Let me tell you about a patient. I'll call her Marina. She was 47 years old, a nurse, actually, someone who understood the human body professionally. She came to me not because she felt sick, but because her annual blood work had flagged something. Her liver enzymes were elevated. Not dramatically, but consistently, year after year. Her doctor had told her to cut back on alcohol. She barely drank. 1 glass of wine at the weekend, sometimes not even that. She was, by any normal measure, health conscious. She bought organic produce. She had switched to natural peanut butter. She drank fruit smoothies instead of soda. She was not overweight, not technically. But she had what she called a stubborn middle, a softness around the abdomen that had appeared in her early 40s and simply would not leave, regardless of how much she exercised. When I sat with Marina and went through not just what she ate, but when, and what the labels actually contained, the picture became very clear very quickly. Her morning smoothie had 4 ingredients: frozen mango, banana, orange juice, and a spoonful of honey. She made it herself. She thought it was pure nutrition. Her lunch often included a low-fat flavored yogurt and a granola bar, the kind with oats and nuts on the packaging that looks wholesome. And dinner was typically something reasonable: a salad, grilled chicken, vegetables. But she always finished with something sweet: a couple of squares of dark chocolate, or a small bowl of fruit.
"I'm not eating junk," she said to me. "I genuinely don't understand."
I told her, "Marina, your liver does not know that your sugar came from mango and honey. It processes fructose, and we will talk in detail about exactly what that is, the same way, regardless of the source. And you are delivering it to your liver in quantities that your biology was never built to handle, every single morning." She looked at me the way Anatoly looked at me when I told him his problem was not his prostate, like I had suggested something slightly unhinged. 3 months later, her liver enzymes were normal for the first time in 7 years. The stubborn middle had reduced noticeably. She had changed 3 things. Only 3. That is what this video is about. To understand what those 3 things are, you need to understand one molecule: fructose. Fructose is a sugar. It is found naturally in fruit. It is also found in enormous concentrated quantities in almost every processed food and sweetened drink sold in a modern supermarket. Here is what makes fructose unique and uniquely dangerous in high amounts. When you eat glucose, the most common sugar, which comes from bread, rice, pasta, potatoes, almost every carbohydrate source, it enters your bloodstream. Every cell in your body can use it. Your muscles use it. Your brain uses it. It gets distributed across your entire system. Your liver handles only a portion of it. Fructose is completely different. Fructose can only be processed by one organ in your entire body: your liver. Every single gram of fructose you consume goes directly and exclusively to your liver. Your muscles cannot use it. Your brain cannot use it. It arrives at the liver in its entirety, and the liver must deal with all of it. In nature, where fructose comes from whole fruit, this is not a problem. An apple contains about 6 grams of fructose. But that apple also contains fiber, which slows digestion and limits how fast fructose reaches the liver. And the total quantity from eating 1 or 2 pieces of fruit is manageable. But now consider what happens when you drink a standard 12-ounce can of soda. That is approximately 25 grams of fructose, delivered in liquid form. No fiber, no slowing mechanism. It hits the liver in a concentrated wave within minutes. Or that morning smoothie with mango, banana, and orange juice. 3 pieces of fruit's worth of fructose, with much of the fiber blended away, delivered fast. Or the low-fat flavored yogurt, which often contains high fructose corn syrup or sucrose, which is 50% fructose as its primary sweetener. Low fat sounds healthy, but the fat was removed and replaced with sugar. Specifically, the kind of sugar that goes straight to your liver. When fructose floods the liver at a rate faster than it can be oxidized for energy, the liver has one primary response. It converts the excess fructose into fat, specifically triglycerides. Those triglycerides either enter the bloodstream, raising your cardiovascular risk, or they stay in the liver itself, accumulating as droplets inside liver cells. This process is called de novo lipogenesis. It means new fat creation, and it happens specifically and potently in response to fructose overload. The research on this is not subtle. Studies where participants consumed controlled high fructose diets showed measurable increases in liver fat within just 2 weeks. Not months, 2 weeks. Marina's smoothie, her flavored yogurt, her evening fruit bowl, none of it was junk food by any conventional definition. All of it was delivering concentrated fructose directly to a liver that was working overtime just to keep up. Now, the 3 foods. I want to be precise about this, because this is where most health content gets lazy. They say avoid sugar and leave you standing in the grocery store completely confused. I'm going to name the specific categories, explain the mechanism, and tell you exactly what to look for on a label. Food number 1. Anything sweetened with high fructose corn syrup or added sugars in liquid form. Liquid sugar is the most dangerous delivery method because there is no fiber, no chewing, no digestive slowdown. It reaches your liver within minutes. This means soda, obviously, but it also means fruit juice, all of it. Even the 100% natural, no sugar added kind. The fiber has been removed from the fruit. What remains is essentially fructose water. A glass of orange juice contains the fructose of 3 to 4 oranges, with none of the fiber that would slow its absorption. It means sweetened coffee drinks, the caramel macchiato, the flavored latte, the iced coffee with syrup. These products often contain 30 to 50 grams of sugar per serving. It means energy drinks, vitamin waters, sports drinks, and bottled teas. Read the label of almost any flavored beverage that is not plain water, and you will find added sugars, usually in significant quantities. It means those morning smoothies. Blending destroys much of the fiber structure. The sugars release quickly. And if your smoothie contains fruit juice as a base, you have compounded the problem significantly. The mechanism is simple and brutal. Liquid fructose in large quantities hits a liver that can only process it at a fixed rate. Everything above that rate becomes liver fat. Do this daily, and the liver accumulates fat faster than it can clear it. What to replace it with? Water, plain sparkling water, unsweetened coffee or tea, and if you want juice, eat the actual whole fruit instead. The fiber makes a decisive difference. Food number 2, ultra-processed foods that combine fructose with refined seed oils. This combination deserves its own explanation because it is more damaging than either component alone. Refined seed oils, soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, are found in virtually every packaged food. Crackers, chips, cookies, granola bars, salad dressings, frozen meals, bread, even many foods labeled healthy or natural. These oils are extremely high in omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. A small amount of omega-6 is necessary, but when the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 in your diet becomes severely imbalanced, which it is in almost every person eating a modern Western diet, something important happens inside your liver. The inflammatory signaling in liver cells increases. The liver becomes primed for damage. Its ability to clear fat is reduced. Now add fructose to that environment. When liver cells are already inflamed and operating under oxidative stress from excess omega-6, the fat that fructose generates cannot be efficiently cleared. It accumulates faster. The inflammatory response amplifies. This is why the combination of a sweetened granola bar, which contains oats plus honey or syrup plus canola oil, is significantly more damaging than either component in isolation. The processed health food aisle of most supermarkets is stacked with products that combine these two insults. Protein bars, trail mixes with sweetened dried fruit, flavored nut butters with added sugar, low-fat salad dressings that replace fat with sugar and thickeners. Read the ingredient list on everything that comes in a package. If you see any of the following before the third or fourth ingredient, put it down. Sugar, high fructose corn syrup, cane sugar, dextrose, maltose, or any oil listed as soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, or vegetable oil. What to replace it with? Whole foods that have not been industrially processed. Nuts in their natural form, not coated or roasted in refined oils. Olive oil and butter instead of vegetable oil blends. Whole fruit instead of dried fruit with added sugar. Food number 3, alcohol, including moderate amounts in people with existing liver stress. I want to be careful here because this is nuanced. I am not telling everyone that one glass of wine will destroy their liver. What I am telling you is this. If you already have the pattern we have been discussing, a belly that won't move, fatigue that won't lift, possibly elevated liver enzymes, there is a very high probability that your liver is already under chronic stress. And for a liver under stress, alcohol changes the equation dramatically. Here is why. Alcohol, like fructose, is processed almost exclusively in the liver. When alcohol arrives, the liver drops everything else and treats it as a priority toxin to neutralize. During that process, two things happen. First, fat metabolism in the liver essentially halts. The liver cannot effectively burn fat while it is processing alcohol. Whatever fat was accumulating that day, from fructose, from refined oils, from excess calories, cannot be cleared. It stays. Second, alcohol metabolism generates a byproduct called acetaldehyde, which directly damages liver cells. It triggers inflammation. It increases oxidative stress. It activates the same pathways that turn a mildly fatty liver into a progressively inflamed one. For a healthy liver in a healthy person who is otherwise not overwhelming their liver with fructose and seed oils, moderate alcohol is one input among many that the system manages. But for the millions of people whose livers are already working at their limit, adding alcohol is like adding fuel to a fire that has not yet broken through the floor, but is very much burning. The research is consistent. Even moderate alcohol consumption significantly accelerates the progression of fatty liver disease in people who already have it. And since most people don't know they have it, the relevant question is not whether you drink heavily. It is whether your liver can currently afford any additional burden. For at least 90 days of any serious liver recovery protocol, the answer should be no. Not reduced, not weekends only. None. After 90 days, when the liver has had genuine time to restore its cellular architecture, that calculus changes. But in the critical early window, alcohol is not compatible with liver repair. Now let's talk about what actually helps. Because I'm a physician, and my job is not only to tell you what to stop, it is to show you what to build instead. First, extra virgin olive oil, every day. This is not generic nutrition advice. This is biochemistry. Extra virgin olive oil contains a compound called oleocanthal, which has demonstrated anti-inflammatory effects in liver tissue specifically. It also contains oleic acid, a monounsaturated fat that your liver can process cleanly and that has been shown in controlled studies to reduce liver fat accumulation. The research on olive oil and liver health is unusually strong. Studies in patients with confirmed non-alcoholic fatty liver disease showed measurable reductions in liver fat after 12 weeks of consistent olive oil consumption compared to control groups. 2 tablespoons a day, on salads, on vegetables, over eggs. Not for cooking at high heat, which damages its compounds. Use it cold or at low to medium temperature. Second, eggs, specifically the yolk. This may surprise you because eggs have been maligned for decades. But the yolk contains a nutrient called choline. Choline is essential for packaging and exporting fat out of the liver. Without adequate choline, fat gets trapped in liver cells because the transport mechanism cannot function. The majority of adults are deficient in choline. They have been avoiding eggs for 30 years because of outdated dietary advice about cholesterol, and in doing so, they have been depriving their livers of one of the primary nutrients required to clear fat. 2 to 3 whole eggs per day provides a substantial portion of your choline requirement. If you have been eating only egg whites, you have been discarding the most liver-protective part of the egg. Third, coffee, plain and unsweetened. I know this sounds like I'm giving you a free pass, and I want to be clear, this is not permission to add caramel syrup and call it medicine. Plain coffee, black or with unsweetened milk. The evidence for coffee and liver health is among the most replicated findings in nutritional research. Multiple large-scale studies have shown that regular coffee consumption is associated with lower rates of liver fibrosis, lower liver enzyme levels, and reduced progression of liver disease. The mechanism involves caffeine's effect on a specific signaling pathway that drives liver fibrosis, the scarring that occurs when inflammation persists. It also involves antioxidants in coffee that reduce oxidative stress in liver cells directly. 2 cups per day, plain. It is one of the simplest and most evidence-backed interventions for liver health that exists, and it costs almost nothing. Fourth, foods that support bile flow. Your liver produces bile, which is stored in the gallbladder and released to digest fats. When bile flow is sluggish, fat digestion becomes inefficient, and toxins that should leave the body through bile get recycled back into circulation. Bitter foods stimulate bile production. Arugula, dandelion greens, radicchio, endive. These are the leafy greens that most people push to the side of their plates because they are not as sweet or mild as romaine or iceberg. But that bitterness is the signal of the compounds that activate your liver's bile production machinery. A small salad of bitter greens before your main meal, even a handful, measurably improves fat digestion and supports the liver's daily detoxification cycle. Now let me give you what I give every patient who comes to me with this picture: a concrete daily protocol. Morning. Before anything else, room temperature water with the juice of half a lemon. Not because lemon is a miracle cleanser, no single food is, but because it signals your liver and gallbladder to begin bile production before the first meal. It hydrates you before caffeine, and it sets a tone of deliberate, liver-aware eating for the day. Then, 2 eggs, cooked any way you like, in butter or olive oil. Then your coffee, plain. What you do not do in the morning: you do not have a fruit smoothie. You do not have sweetened yogurt. You do not have juice. You do not have a granola bar or a commercial cereal marketed with health claims. These are the exact breakfast choices that are quietly loading your liver before the day has started. Midday. Your largest meal of the day should be lunch, not dinner. Your liver, like your entire digestive system, follows a circadian rhythm. It is more metabolically active and more efficient at processing nutrients, clearing fat, and running its detoxification cycles during daylight hours. Everything you eat after 7 or 8 in the evening takes longer to process and is more likely to be stored rather than burned. Build lunch around protein and fat and fiber. A large salad with olive oil, eggs or meat or fish, and a handful of bitter greens. Complex carbohydrates from whole sources if you want them. Lentils, chickpeas, sweet potato. Not white bread. Not white rice eaten alone. Not pasta with a sugary sauce. Evening. Keep dinner smaller than lunch. Remove the dessert habit, or at minimum, move sweets to earlier in the day if you cannot eliminate them. The liver's fat clearance mechanisms slow dramatically at night. What arrives late tends to accumulate. If you are going to eat fruit, eat it at noon, not at 9 p.m. One powerful evening addition: a tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar in a glass of water, 20 minutes before your evening meal. The acetic acid in vinegar has been shown to slow the conversion of carbohydrates to blood glucose and to reduce triglyceride accumulation in liver cells. It also supports the acidic environment your stomach needs to properly digest protein. It tastes sharp. You will adapt. Within 2 weeks, it becomes unremarkable. Your liver is the most regenerative organ in the human body. It is the only internal organ that can regrow itself from as little as a quarter of its original tissue. Given the right inputs and the removal of the wrong ones, a fatty liver can show measurable improvement in as little as 2 weeks. Significant structural improvement in 3 months. The window is open. The question is whether you will use it. Now you know how to answer it. That is exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe to Dr. John Chester. Hit the like button. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers and help the next person who needs this information actually find it. Every subscriber moves this up in the algorithm and gets this into the hands of someone whose doctor has been telling them their liver enzymes are a little elevated for 7 years without explaining why. You now know why, and you now know what to do about it.